ni san chi bajime.
Warning, it's been a long time since I've had a long discussion and even just getting out of the bed.
You've been sick, haven't you, Daddy?
I got slapped with the flu. I truly became an influencer. That was a fucked up flu, man. It was really bad.
You're an influenza with influenza. What?
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
funny, all of this hysteria over this specifically branded one. All this talk about the Gucci branded sickness, and I got the fucking I got the Walmart version of it, you know what I mean?
And it fucked you up.
Yeah, like the irony of that, with all this talk about the COVID and you know what, it's like I
Yeah.
ended up not even really leaving the house and catching the other one that's supposed to be way more common.
Well, that's the thing that's easy to forget with influenza is that it's pretty nasty. Like
It
the normal
is,
one is just pretty fucking nasty, man.
dude. It wasn't the worst one that I've had, but I remember having once where I was like bedridden for like 2 weeks straight, and it just felt
Yeah,
like somebody was stabbing you from the inside. This one
yeah,
was like maybe a good 6, 7 out of 10 in how damaging it was, but it's a gentle reminder that you're not invincible.
sure. I'm not good at being sick, so I can when people like they get killed by a sniffle or a
Yeah,
cold, I'm
yeah.
done. I will steamroll through that. But there's like, so I'm tough, I'm tough, I'm tough, I'm tough. And then at the point where it's like, oh, this actually hurts now, I fold. I'm done. I'm just
Yes.
like, don't talk to
Yeah.
me. I'm doing nothing.
Dude, I thought my will and my morale was like, because I've been watching a lot of zombie stuff. I've been finishing
Yeah.
like the seasons of Walking Dead left and right, and I'm like, yeah, if I were in that, maybe I could. I'm folding over a fucking fever, dude. It's just when my body starts aching, it's like, bruh, you know what? Kill me. Fuck it. It's not even worth it.
Yeah. We all have a limit. I think the fantasy of people who've never pushed themselves to the limit is they think there's no limits. I was training today with a mate of mine, with Danny, and he's a nutcase. And we did a really, really hard session. We were doing rounds of weights so quickly that we were both gasping. So it was basically like CrossFit. And then he wanted to do a finisher, which is the battle rope and the assault bike. And you're just surging your heart rate up to the top
Yeah.
levels. And like, obviously, you take it all in good bro humor. And then there was a point where I was like, I got really serious. I was like, this isn't funny, man. I could actually fucking die. And he was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, and my brain just got really serious. It's sending me a message. I'm going to die. So we were
This
laughing
isn't
about the
funny,
fact that
man.
he felt my emotional state change because through everything else, we're like, aha, who's going to vomit first? I fucking
Yeah.
hate you. You suck. You suck. And then I just went like that. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, it's just like my brain's telling me I'm going to die now.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
like
has a cutoff point.
the defense mechanism just shuts off after a certain threshold, man.
Yeah.
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 And
My
and
brain was
like,
like, this isn't a game. This isn't funny. Okay.
yeah.
You could die now. You're 43. Do you want to die here? I was like, damn, it's just a bit of cardio, for fuck's sake.
Part of my guilty pleasures is to just revel in the drama of being sick, because like it just
Right.
automatically goes to Shakespearean monologue in my head, because you're just like your voice is just like kind of halfway there, and anything you say to anybody or to yourself is like your last breath, and a part of me just dives even
Everything that
deeper.
has lived will become corrupted and diseased and die. And I am now
Yeah.
part of that process.
We talk about how removed we are from just like regular life, and that's another example. Like, it's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've had sickness of any sort. I've been pretty good
Yeah.
about myself and taking care of it in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
way.
I've not known you sick in 2 years. Not really.
Yeah, and maybe occasional sniffles, but I still even haven't got. I barely have gotten even sniffles, and then
Mm.
this flu, in accordance to everything else that happened this year, was like constant reminder of mortality and vulnerability as a human being, and it's very
Right.
humbling, man.
Yeah. 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 It's tough. Like, all we have is the body, really. Like everything is experience, everything is subjective. If this flesh suit is not functioning, very well and we feel sick, it colors everything. That's why, like, I think like a lot of people who get into that whole grind mindset and they're just going for money, like your knees will still be your knees, whether you're worth $300 or $300 billion. Like they still that you don't escape, you know that, right? Or you're pounding down loads of food in business meetings, snorting cocaine at the weekends, and because I know dudes who've done that. They went for that whole entrepreneur thing and just they blew up. They got really big really really quickly, but they thought it will be okay when in the future. And I'm like, so you'll be an obese, a morbidly obese billionaire like the Baron from June.
It's almost as if like physical illness. Well, it's not almost as if it literally is this. It's a reminder. It's a punishment for you not acknowledging your link with your body. Because that I was gonna say that's like a metaphysical punishment. It trying to remind you of like your spirit being. I'm like, actually, no, it's just your body reminding you that you have a body. Anytime it gets ill, it's through your own neglect.
Yeah. Well, you don't think about your teeth until you have toothache. You assume you can just walk until one of your fucking legs does a snapper lapper like mine,
Right.
and then you're like, oh, I'm a machine, and it has like a certain number of repetitions it can do before it breaks.
But
I have to rest and stretch and so on.
isn't it so weird though that we've evolved to a point where we can just go throughout our lives for months, if not years, and then not have anything to the point where you just completely forget that this thing is fragile?
Yes, it's one of the seeming benefits but secret horrors. It's a gift, but I think it's a punishment. I think it's a real burden to be able to forget. Because if we've got a choice, of course we'll forget, because the body is fear, the body is suffering, the body is limitation. So of course the narcissism will make you forget it. But in that forgettingness, we lose so much. We lose just a tremendous amount, and that's the world. This is one of the things we're always talking about. Like the big problem with culture that we have now, and the directions it's surging in, is because we can forget the body.
Yeah, yeah.
One reason, one fact. That's one factor.
Speaking of surges, the huge the hot topic of the next 2 days, and then everybody will forget about it, is the Travis Scott concert.
Tell me what has happened. I've heard what's happened, but I want Pierre's version of what happened, as far as you know.
I've been scrolling through TikTok because I'm sick and I have nothing else to do other than to gorge my consciousness with garbage. So as I'm scrolling through TikTok, like every second TikTok is just another coverage of the Travis Scott situation. So I mean, objectively as possible, like this is basically what happened. Too many people showed up at his concert, and too many ragers going too crazy. And basically, it was so overpopulated that nobody could move in the actual place. People were getting literally trampled. People were like leaning on each other to a point where people were suffocating. The what do you say? The resources of, or let's just say that everything was not prepared enough to handle a situation like this. So I think 8 people ended up dying and hundreds of people getting injured, and everyone's pointing the finger at Travis Scott specifically and doing the whole finger wagging type of situation.
Is he culpable for anything, do you think?
Yeah, I will say he's not fully off the hook, but I find it kind of interesting that I personally think, well, I mean, it's if anything, it's true that the management who is in charge of the safety regulations and the hazards of the actual event itself, it probably takes first priority.
Legally, it would.
Yeah,
Legally, it for sure does. It for sure does. I've never organized an event, but I've worked security at events, and I've helped to set up the health and safety check pre-events, and
right.
it like by law it falls on the security company. That's what you're paid for.
Totally.
That's what you're there to do.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you on your opinion of something like this because you literally work security and then you've worked back end security, so you kind of know how these things should go.
And because I want to escape the internet, I will soon be working security and taxi driving again.
Oh,
Much to
you
the
see, you're making
horror
it
of my
public now, huh?
fuck it, they may as well know. Like, I have to leave the internet, guys, because it's slowly destroying my soul. Not forever. I'll still be around, but much, much less.
Yeah.
If you get a crowd surge, and there've been crowd surges here, we have a bad history with crowd surges around Liverpool because we had what's called the Hillsborough disaster, where a lot of people were crushed to death at a football game because of it was mismanaged, and it was bad. It was a real tragedy. It didn't need to happen that way. But as people are going back out again, that's like there's this feeling like, oh, in the UK certainly, perhaps in America as well, the danger's past. Everybody can go out, and they're really going out, and you're seeing surge scenarios on fireworks night, which for us is November the 5th in the UK. We celebrate the torture and execution of Guy Fawkes because he failed to blow up the Houses of Parliament. We had a situation down locally in the Wirral where too many people showed up for a fight. Nothing happened, but when you have a mass of people who show up, it really doesn't matter how many security you have on. You cannot put on enough security to deal with that. Security requires civilized behavior and consent. Because the only way I can stop 1,000 kids trying to get past me to Travis Scott is if I have, I don't know, like 600 fully grown men.
Yeah, like full
even
of
that would be
SWAT.
tough.
Like straight up SWAT.
Straight up riot gear, shields, and you would create a Spartan shield wall, a phalanx, and they would still die. You wouldn't save them. You'd only stop them from moving forward because they would be crushed. Once a crowd of that size starts moving, I've only been in it once. It's terrifying. There was a football hooligan situation in London. I was working for an Albanian security firm, and they fucked up the organization, and the police fucked up, and they let Welsh hooligans in to come and batter some English fans down in London. And we had a real crowd scenario where it was a fight, but so many people are packed into a tight space, or your fucking MMA and it doesn't mean a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because your dudes are pushing you from the back and the enemy's pushing you from the front, and you just do this and you think, I hope I don't fucking fall over. It's horrible. It's really, really awful. So the only thing you can do is try and dissuade people from coming there. I don't know the physical setup of the event. What I saw online was people surging these temporary fences. Now, if you have walls and only certain entrances in, you can stop people. But if it's temporary fences because it's a festival, you're dependent on
it would be
people obeying you.
Have you seen the clips of the actual, like, what do you call it, entrance rushing? Like a bunch of kids just pushing through.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of like kids in their young 20s, just like hammering the entrances with the metal detectors and through the security guards. Like there was literally like nobody could have stopped that. Unless you want like straight up authoritarian SWAT riot gear to like manage in front of these entrances is like
you need, and you would need almost as many as you have kids, and you would be sending people home with fractured eye sockets, broken arms, broken legs. And if I was running a security event, at some point there are situations where you just have to say, we are not in control of this, and our efforts to control this would do more damage than
so
good.
that's kind of what I was getting into, because I decided to try to look at all angles of a situation where everyone already has their mind made up on a specific thing and they were unwilling to listen to anything else. But for me, I find it entertaining to
that never happens online. What are we talking about?
Man, if I had an experience with door work and taxi driving, I'd probably be doing the same fucking thing, man. Because like,
I can't wait. I'm actually excited to go back to it.
Dude, I'm getting ill. I got ill, and I've been like taking a break from the internet. And I feel a little better, you know. It's garbage, anyways. So yeah, like I'm looking at the situation, and obviously, like Travis Scott is definitely his name is on the fucking thing, but like the solutions that people are throwing out, I'm like, Richard, it's another one of those discussions that we always have about practicality and how things play out and what people idealistically want to happen. Like people are literally throwing this out as a solution. He should have just stopped the concert mid-song and told everybody to calm down and politely leave, and everybody would calm down and politely leave, and there wouldn't be a problem.
I mean, we seem to struggle these days with culpability. Like we really don't know what to do with guilt and responsibility now, and we're so driven by ideology that we lose our sense of practicality. And you've got people who've never left the house trying to say how it is in the real world. Should he have stopped? On what little I know, you should do everything you can. If you think the situation's out of control, you should do everything you can to stop it, so that if nothing else, people can't say to you afterwards, why didn't you stop? I did see a clip of him saying to
He
stop
did.
though.
There's actually a clip that no one's like pointing out. He actually said, "Hey, there's a body right over there. Okay, can somebody help her, please?" And I'm like
Yeah.
thinking, okay, so first of all, it's already too late. You already 20 it was like 20,000 extra people got like what do you say? They ran through like it was
20,000 extra.
if somebody can confirm that, I don't know, but I know that it was around
They're fucking lucky
50,000.
there's only 8 dead.
Yeah, it was
They're
supposed to
fucking lucky
be.
there's only 8 dead. 20,000 is, I would
Yeah,
expect, hundreds of dead.
it was supposed to be a concert of 50,000. Apparently, the final count was around 70-ish thousand with the amount of extra people that got slammed through, you know? And I'm like, all right, well, if you already booked there, okay. So you expect Travis Scott to just go, hey guys, can you stop, please? And then he stops the music, and everybody civilly just doesn't send themselves into emotional hysteria when it's completely dead silent and everybody is upset that Travis Scott stopped the concert, and then they just have to be like politely behaving in single file line out to the damn thing. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is not how things work.
I also, I don't know, I haven't looked enough to know what he can see, but I know that with the lights on when you're on stage, it's quite hard to see past like 5 or 6 rows.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
is. Yeah.
maybe he could see, maybe he didn't realize the scale of it. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly um, it's not his job. It's the event organizers and the security's job. That's written into the signed insurance. I guarantee you it'll be the same as the UK. Travis Scott is not a security guard. He's not licensed to enforce security in the state of Texas. I guarantee you, he's not an expert on it. If the event organizer had come over and said, "Hey, stop," and he refused, that's different. But
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of
One of
who is in charge. Like who's the adult on scene.
Yeah, yeah, and it should have been higher ups to just continuously push him to stop the thing. And there was a report that apparently they told him and he kept going or something, but I don't even know if
You
that's
can switch
valid.
him off. You
Yeah,
can
you can
switch him
literally
off.
switch off the equipment. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah. You just
there's
turn off the
so
lights or yeah.
there's so much more responsibility behind the back end here that people are
Yeah.
not really pointing out for some odd reason. And it's that scapegoating mentality that you see everywhere these days. I think Travis Scott's not 100% innocent, but like, goddamn, at like the 3 or 4 other organizations that do back end, whether it's security, the management, the organization, even the marketing, this, like they're also like, if not more, you know?
Uh, from a legal standpoint, the buck will stop at the event organizer, not with Travis Scott. And that's, you can disagree with the law. You can say that's immoral. It's the fucking law, and it's a law for a reason. I was at a Fun Loving Criminals concert once. I've dated myself there. Most people watching this won't even know who that is. And we had that situation where somebody at the front row was getting crushed, and they all the band members signaled to security to get them, and they were on the verge of stopping, and Huey was going to say something, but security came over and moved them. If you see something is wrong and you can do something about it as a human being, you should. But that's different. I don't know. I don't know enough. I don't really know enough to say one way or another. I think it's a little bit facile to blame the headline act. I know that he's got history of, has he got history of it encouraging surges or encouraging people to
Yeah,
rush?
he's definitely known for like encouraging just like really aggressive moshing and whatever else. But so this is what I think about the situation. Moshing, aggressive concerts and music has been around for a really long time by now. Hardcore
Mhm.
punk shows, I've been a part of like a lot of this shit. I've been to actual moshes and I've been to metal shows, and so have you. You know, we've
Yep.
seen it. And please,
Been in it. Been in the mosh pit.
yeah, been in, me too. And so please confirm with me, in metal shows specifically, or rock shows, is there not an unspoken code of conduct of how to mosh correctly?
Yes, there is. And if you
Yes.
break it, you'll be thrown out.
Yeah, you would probably get like smashed in the face. Like
Yep.
you're supposed to pick up people that fall to the floor. You're supposed to
Yep.
leave a good amount of room for everybody else. No, there are no punches. There, there's a lot of like unspoken safety regulations with the crowd that shows up
Mm,
to
mm,
metal concerts, punk concerts, whatever, whatever.
mm.
And I've read online that a lot of people agree with this sentiment too. Is that a lot of this moshing rock and roll way of playing concerts is still super new to hip hop shows. So you have a
Right.
bunch of young kids that don't even listen to rock music and stuff, but they're moshing as if they are. So
Dude, it's more than that. They never grew up wrestling with each other. They never grew up fighting. They don't realize how fucking dangerous it is.
that's another thing that we always talk about, right? Yeah, that's right. You have these kids that, first of all, don't really grow up doing these things. Second of all, I don't know what this type of mentality is called here, but to just surge the entrance, just to break through the whole fucking thing and then rage through it with no safety precautions, like, that's
You're
another.
anybody who did that, by the way, you're a fucking asshole. I don't care how old you are. What that does is it lets bad people in with guns and knives who potentially can shoot and stab people. Security's there for a reason. It's not like we're not there. Like that's not our idea of a fucking fun night out, is wanding you and checking your fucking belts for daggers.
Yeah, well, they
You
wanna get in
surge, if
free.
you surge, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, they wanna get in free, and then they wanna get closer to the front, which is really disregarding of anybody else around you, which ruins the whole
Yeah.
night for everybody involved, and then people
All the people
die.
who paid. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so that's one of the big reasons I see this thing happening too, is because like you see a lot of hip hop shows like doing crowd surfing and stage diving from like the balcony into the thing, and but it's a bunch of kids that have never really practiced or had a code of conduct. If try going to a don't go to the fuck concerts nowadays, but like if you were ever at one, you can see how people communicate when it comes to moshing and the unspoken code of conduct that's expected of everybody there.
In a mosh pit back in my day, they put like Pantera on or something in the club in the fucking Crazy House it was called in Liverpool, and the biggest lads would stand on the edge and they would protect other people from the moshes. And when you're in the middle, you could ask the big lads to throw you into the middle, but they wouldn't like smash your fucking head off the floor.
Yeah,
It was like you just said, it was consensual, symbolic violence. Nobody got hurt.
yeah,
No, you got all your
yeah,
teenage fucking angst out. You were
yeah,
sweating. You were probably drunk. You were having a
yeah,
really fucking good time, and we protected each other. But we
yes,
didn't. There was only enough people in the mosh pit to do that, and if it got
yeah,
too busy, you moved out. You should fear crowds. You should fear like huge movements of people. It's strange to me that anybody saw a surge forward and then saw the compacted bodies and went, "That's where I'm going to put my body."
yeah,
Why would what's wrong with you? Like, why would you do that? Stay back. That's where
yes,
all the death is. If enough people push you from front and back, your diaphragm will collapse and you will asphyxiate.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been to many mosh pits, and every time, actually, at every concert that I've been to with a mosh pit, there's usually a circle that's good enough, that's spread apart enough where people can actually move around.
That's it.
And there's always the biggest dudes that are there. They're the
Yep.
first ones that run to a fallen girl, someone
Yep.
younger, or someone
Yep.
skinnier. They'll
Yep.
literally bolt to that person and then pick them up
Yep.
and then put them to
Yep.
the side, and then
There's
everybody
always friendly
continues.
giants on the edge of a mosh pit. It's how we.
Yeah,
It's just an unspoken agreement.
right, right, right. So yeah, that's
These
one of the
giant
big
rock
things.
trolls on the edge are like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, you have fallen. Oh,
right.
stand up, little one.
Yeah. And I think with like the whole hip hop scene, it even happened a few years ago with the SoundCloud rappers. There was like 5, 6 and like crazy overdoses with famous rappers around that time period when they first came
Mm,
out, and the whole scene just died. Everybody was dying at like 20, 21, 23. and it was like kind of like them emulating this like rock and roll lifestyle without any boundary. Like the ones
Yeah.
back then at least lasted until 27. Like now these kids died at 21. Like
So
Jesus.
they had the 27 club, but these trap stars, they have it. What do they call it? The 23 club or something like that.
21 at times. Like
21 club. Okay.
yeah, like the amount of recklessness and the lack of self-awareness in a lot of the scene and the people, and I think on Travis Scott's end, he's definitely not self-aware enough to see the repercussions. I think in his mind, he was also doing the same. Like I'm living a rock and roll lifestyle, so like if people want to fucking break in and stage dive, and like we're gonna fucking rage, and not knowing the series or the severity of how serious these things could be, because I don't think anybody expected anyone to die. The last time that shit happened was like what, in the 70s, or 90s maybe. I think a Pearl Jam concert that shit happened in the 90s from what I was looking at. But
Yeah, these things happen. They happen often enough. I mean, I don't know what happens with people's common sense, because you should be able to see. So the Hillsborough disaster, that was 1989. That was at a football stadium, and yeah, you should be able to, like, I don't know, maybe we are that disconnected. We started out by joking about this at the beginning of the podcast, saying we're a little disconnected from our bodies now. Maybe people think they can't die.
but dude, it is. I think this, especially the current generation, if not younger, the Travis Scott generation, they're growing up without the awareness of physical repercussions or just a lot of repercussions in general. And what I was trying to really decipher was this visceral, patronizing reaction that was all fingers towards Travis Scott to a point where he did something to me personally. It was like
Right.
insane. The straight up rage, the condemnation that came with it. And I would like to hear your opinion on
I've
it,
not
but
seen that. Is nobody online pointing the fingers at the kids who rushed the
no,
security? Is
no,
nobody
no,
saying that?
no, no. And this is what I'm thinking. Like, imagine these kids, right? That have no self awareness for their own physical danger or self awareness or consideration of others, for God's sake. And then when something bad happens, of course they're going to do that. Of course they're going to do that. But to the point where it's like full of fury. It's not even just like, accidents happen and this it's like people that didn't even go to the concert or don't even listen to Travis Scott, don't like have nothing, and it's like this weird like personal offense that they take from it.
I don't know. If you get in a car when you're drunk and you're just driving with your friends and then you hit somebody and you kill them, you didn't mean to kill them, but the consequence of your recklessness is manslaughter. If you surge a concert and people die, you are partly culpable for manslaughter. You didn't mean to kill anybody, but your fucking dumb, irresponsible, clearly irresponsible behavior, clearly illegal behavior. Security is there for a reason. We can't afford to police these places, so we hire private people like me who are licensed and criminal records checked. They're there for a fucking reason. It's not a game. It's not a fucking game. I've heard of people saying some of the security guards were spiked with drugs as well.
Oh, at the show, security guards were
Yes,
spiked with drugs.
definitely. At least one security guard claimed he was spiked in the neck while he was pulling somebody out, and he was knocked out, and he had to be revived with an adrenaline shot or something like that to his heart.
I did not hear that. Okay,
Yeah,
that's not good.
but that's the other thing that security is checking for: the equipment that allows people to spike people. We check for knives. We check for in Texas. There's I have cousins from Texas. They've shown me the handbags where they carry like derringers or a little 38 snub nose pistol. You can have quite small guns that will absolutely blow your fucking brains out if you push it up to somebody's head. We check for that. So you stopped all that by searching. You're letting drugs in, you're letting knives in, you're letting people who want to spike other people and rape them, you're letting their equipment in. You're an asshole if you search security. You're an
So
asshole.
think about this, right? So that happens, and obviously it's terrible. And I'm seeing all this finger pointing, especially as Travis Scott. But like they are literally diverting every element of responsibility. Like in their head, they're like, well, maybe they should have had way better security from the very beginning. And I'm like, how fucking crazy of security do you want? Like what do you want? Like,
Nazis with tanks, with leather
and
coats on.
yeah, exactly. Like they want an authoritarian Nazi China Maoist fucking like security system with
What a
AKs.
fucking surprise. What a
Yeah,
fucking
I know.
surprise.
And it's like maybe if things were just way safer and way more restricted, then these things wouldn't happen. You know, it's
we either can
crazy.
have we can either have kids. It's really simple. We can either have the burden of responsibility be on the individual, or we can forego the burden of responsibility being on the individual and hand it to the state. Why is it that everybody in this fucked up culture that we live in keeps demanding more power for the state? Show me historically where that works out well. Show why are people so fucking weak and spineless now that it's always more top-down power, more top-down authority? Do you want them to check your pants when you go in as well? Wipe your
Yeah, like
bottoms for you
think about
too?
this. People would be like, but Travis told everybody to rush the yeah, a tweet, a tweet, a tweet dissolves thousands and thousands of people in their early 20s
Of
responsibility
all responsibility.
just the dude, I'm losing my voice again. Oh, Travis Scott, a few tweets dissolves the responsibility of thousands of kids in their early 20s, specifically adults.
Responsibilum dissolvum. Ba-ting!
Just
Well done,
just
Harry
a,
Potter.
I am never ever holding a concert. I don't want a fan base. I don't want anybody following me because apparently just by putting a few lines of text, I can make somebody kill somebody because I said it. I didn't even have to say it. I type it.
That chap 6ix9ine said that he took a chopper to a chicken shop and made a guy dance bachata. I'm dancing bachata at 8 o'clock. I'm taking a chopper to the chicken shop and I'm going to make somebody dance bachata. I'm just going to. He said it. He said
He
it.
said it.
He said it. It's right there in the song.
He tweeted.
That's an instruction manual for my life. A rap song is an instruction manual for how I live my daily life, isn't it, officer?
It's so annoying. Dude, I feel like even like actual 13, like 7-year-olds wouldn't just do something that PewDiePie told them to.
I want to know. I want to know where the parents are in all this. The parents of
Yeah.
these teenagers. They're not teenagers. They're 20-somethings, and they're
You
the
know, it's like,
sheer efforts to abrogate responsibility now is just appalling. It's just
yeah,
appalling.
obviously. And it's one of those other arguments we've basically talked about the same recycled topics over and over because the same situations occur under the same theme all the time.
That's true.
And
Mm.
and one of the things that we've talked about was if things could have been different if they were different.
Mm.
It's like if he didn't do this, then none of it would have happened. If there wasn't a crowd surge, then a crowd surge wouldn't have happened.
If he wasn't called Travis Scott, he'd have a different name. The thing is, like, this is just bad thinking. This is a poor philosophy. This is really weak thinking, because if you take that to its logic, like if you use that, like if I steal the fork from Pierre and then you go, dude, you stole Pierre's fork, and I go, well, if Pierre hadn't left the fork there, I wouldn't have been able to steal it, and you let me off. Imagine just replicating that modality of thought again and again. You can use it for everything ad infinitum.
Yeah.
Well, why did you kill those people? Because they were there, and if they hadn't been there, I wouldn't have killed them.
Yeah.
So, okay, wait a second. So it's their fault now because they were there? Well, they could have been somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like
There's no end to this. Like, you have to stop it because there's no end to this. You can't use this kind of fake logic. It's not logic. It's not philosophy. It's ideology. Sorry.
Yeah, totally. And for everything that went wrong, they're using this reasoning for all of it. If there was more ambulances, if there were people who moved out of the way, there wouldn't be a surge. If he would have done this, then it wouldn't have happened. If he didn't play a concert, then none of this would have happened. It's like if it didn't happen, then it didn't fucking happen.
If an asteroid had hit the day before, it wouldn't have happened because we'd all be dead. So I'm mad at the asteroid that didn't come. Look, there's so many people we can fit into a physical space. We provide an allowance for it. Generally speaking, people who've been doing security and event organization for a couple of decades, they know what will work. When you surge, you're breaking the equation. It is your fault. It is your fault.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, for anything that goes wrong ever in a public space, if there was if there was more security, it's like if a dude was shitting on the street, a homeless dude shitting on the street, well, if they put a toilet there, then maybe there wouldn't be poopy on the street.
Well, there'll be somebody who will say maybe if we gave him a house, he wouldn't be homeless. I've literally heard people say that. Well, if someone gave him a house, who? And do you think he's outside because? Okay, all right. What do you think? It's in the name, isn't it? He is homeless. So his problem is that he is minus one home. So if we plus one home,
Yeah.
he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You fuck.
Yeah. And then here's the other thing of like, Jesus, every stream.
Every fucking stream.
Oh my
This is
God.
just becoming a rant stream now.
Yeah, fuck it. It's like at least it's funny. So let's go back to the thing. Like, if I was there, he should have seen it. It's this like, if I was Clint Eastwood, I would do it better. I would be a better cowboy than Clint Eastwood if I tried it. So you have these people that are approaching reasoning over one of the most hysterical, confusing, ambiguous situations in modern concert festival history. But if these people were Travis Scott on stage, they would see everybody pass out. They would stop the concert really politely and not send everybody else in a huge riot for stopping their concert. They would immediately have the ambulance come from the skies, and then with helicopters and raise. And it's like, first of all, has anybody even played an actual concert on stage? Any of these people giving suggestions? Have you ever seen what it feels like? You motherfuckers are the ones fucking nervous, sweating through your goddamn armpits doing a class presentation. You know, go on a school presentation, tell me if you can make out everybody's facial expressions and not shit yourself while staring at everybody all throughout your discussions. And then when something happens, you know exactly what to do. Now imagine that with 70,000 fucking people, and it's just a huge conglomerate blob of lights and darkness. And then you have to differentiate people being pulled out with people that are stage diving, with people that are screaming for enjoyment, and people screaming out of bloody murder. You have to just tell the difference. You have to automatically hear how clear people are screaming help and other people that are screaming Travis Scott, yeah, while listening to your in-ear monitors of your trap song being blasted twice with latency. So you hear a bass drum behind you and in your ear at the same time, and also sing on pitch with your auto tune being doubled through that. And you're supposed to know exactly what all the security is happening inside the audience while people are screaming over you and all that noise. So of course Travis Scott is a piece of shit. But if I was him, I would know.
It reminds me of back in the 2000s when I used to teach self-defense primarily, and we would review videos of fights. It came up recently. It was on Instagram. There was one woman tried to push another woman in front of a train at a New York train station, and then she runs away. Everybody in the comments, if I was there, I would have leapt to my feet, wrestled that woman to the ground, and made a citizen's arrest. I'm like, really? You, if you were there, I know you, bitch. You'd be doing this. And when some violence pops off, you'll do this. Go into shock with your eyes wide and your jaw agape and saliva collecting at your mouth. You'll do nothing.
Right.
You'll do nothing. I know you. You'll just sit there shocked, like everybody else who was minding their own business on the New York subway. You got to process the fact, like, that woman just tried to kill a stranger. Now she's running. Yeah, if you're trained, you'll arrest her, or if you're a cop, you might. But the rest of us will just go, holy, what the fuck? That's crazy, and go into shock. The fantasizing that comes afterwards, like, come on, guys,
Dude.
get a fucking grip of reality. This is why I can't be online anymore, Pete.
And this is, you've had experience as an actual doorman. Like, you go through these situations, you see how people freeze up. You had to
Nobody does anything.
Yes, you had to override your own impulses to learn to do something instead of just sitting there. You know,
everything when it happens, everything in your body will say, sit the fuck still. You don't know if she's got a knife. She could be carrying a dirty needle. She could bite you and give you fucking infection. Your natural response isn't going to be, ha, let me save the day. No, it will be to sit there and wait for somebody else to do something, because that's what you've done your whole life. I've stood in a club. Well, I was across a club. It was in Birkenhead, while a guy punched the fuck out of his young girlfriend. He was 22. She was 18, with not this in her face. Room full of men. Do you know how many stopped to help her? Zero. A room full of men who were bigger than him. Why? Are they cowards? Could they not stop him? They were shocked.
Yeah.
They were shocked. That's why I'm there. I'm sober with my little earpiece in, and I'm waiting for somebody to do something fucking horrible. That's my job. And then I have to get across the club. But he still got her. 6 solid punches in the face. He cracked her in the jaw, in the nose, and in the eye. And all the men, there wasn't a ton of men, but there was 8 dudes who could have done something. They did nothing. I wish they had, but they didn't, because they were shocked. Because when you see this shit happen, like you just said, it's an ambiguous situation. The lights, the noise, the crowd. Some people probably went home and had no idea that they were at the scene of what is essentially manslaughter. They would have had no idea. They would have woken up the next day, got a text. People died last night. Holy shit, really? They had no clue. They would have had no clue whatsoever if it's 50,000 to 70,000 people.
I saw a lot of people posting concert footage, and they're like, oh my God, such a sad night. I had no idea that it was going to be so sad. And they were trying to like post footage of the footage they posted were just them partying at the place. They're like, yeah. And then the text over it is like, oh, so sad.
Clout chasing, even on a death, even on somebody's fucking casket. This is why I'm leaving the internet. It's a disgusting place, and it turns us into disgusting people. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I really, really don't.
This was the internet generation. This is probably, whoa, now that I think about it, man, this is probably one of the biggest gatherings of purely the internet generation in modern times. Now that I think about
digital natives, people
like
who were raised.
Yep. Anybody who listens to the giant demographic of Travis Scott listeners are not anybody who didn't have the internet at one point. They were all young adults that are old enough to go to places on their own now, finally. And they are all heavily social media using people.
And they're great.
Yes. Dude, like more. The more we talk about it, I'm like, people don't have the awareness of physicality, which assumes that they will just have the same mindset of being behind a computer while they're in a high adrenalized situation. When I was like, remember a year ago, I stopped a fucking thief, bro. Remember that shit? It was literally in Wenceslaw Square. There was more than thousands of people in that shit, and this homeboy is running through with somebody's bag, and no one did anything. There were thousands,
and you looked,
hundreds,
and you went, and you were like, "That bag is not your collar." Let me stop you.
I was like,
"That's
bro,
a fashion
what?
crime. I don't give a fuck. You stole it. It's not for you, son."
Yeah. So I put my arm out like a crazy motherfucker, and then I slowed him down, and I'm like, I'm the only one, and he starts running the opposite way. and other people just still didn't do anything, and he was slowed down, and then he ran directly into the arms of a cop, which was hilarious. But like, that being said, I understand why people don't do anything. I'm not going to try to condemn them and put me on a fucking pedestal, because I get the natural reaction of adrenaline and fucking shock of high adrenaline situations. And if people are not used to these things, of course they're not going to do shit. It's like these same people, like, they stutter when they're in a verbal confrontation. You know, it's like when they're actually confronted in real life, that you're, you're stupid too. And I'm like, okay, so you're gonna know exactly what happens when everyone's hysterical, 50,000 people in a thing, and you'll know exactly how to save the day.
They've never been outside the house, mate. I'm convinced that the most vocal ones, if you're so thoroughly convinced that you would do something different or that you would have power in a situation where one is powerless, like 70,000 people, get the fuck out of here. 100 people, you can't stop 100 people. You damn sure can't stop 70,000. The noise, the sound, the sensory overwhelm.
Yeah.
It's almost like there'd be so little human consciousness there. It would be like a natural disaster. It would be like a tsunami or something. You can't appeal to anything. Once people lost their minds and they're panicking and they realize it's a problem, so you got half the crowd having no idea it's a problem. They're out their minds with just the moment and the music, and the other half panicking. It's a disaster. But it wouldn't be if they'd kept to the right numbers and not fucking surged the gates.
You know what's the funny part too? If people find out, they're like, why did you do that? You're being an idiot. Why did you just let him go? Why did you try to do something? That was really dangerous of you to make the choice of doing that. How dare you? You should have just stood back. And in terms of like the concert situation, it's like when you raise kids and you know you're not supposed to cry when they get hurt, because then the kid realizes that they're actually in trouble. You know what I mean?
That's
You
right.
can't,
The kid bangs the knee, and instead of going, "Oh my God, your knee," which makes them cry, you go, oopsie, up you go.
Yeah. So it works similar in a way in this crowd setting where it's like, if you told, that's like in the same way where people in airports or airplanes, they don't verbally state that the plane is going fucking down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of maintain a sense of calm, or everything might be okay. But if they just shut it down, if they just stop midway, all right, everybody, I know you're all suffocating and half of the people died here and you can't breathe, but if everybody can just calm down and leave, then we'll be not.
Yeah, I don't even. It depends whether people can hear you if everybody's screaming. This is why I don't like people screaming for fun. This is why I hate it when groups of girls get together in the street and when they're drunk and scream, because we don't know what the scream is. You're reducing the clarity of a signal. So I don't know if you're screaming because you're being stabbed to death or raped, or whether you're just screaming because you had too many fucking Bacardi breezes and you got Josh's phone number.
Yeah.
And that's kind of irritating. That was the famous New York Kitty Genovese case. It's like, oh, those mean New Yorkers, they heard her scream and they did nothing. No, they lived in New York where people are drunk and screaming all night, and they've learned to fucking ignore it. Blame the people who scream for no fucking reason.
So imagine you're in a concert where everybody naturally screams for fun, and then you're the one that's responsible for differentiating who's screaming in terror and who isn't.
That's me. I'm responsible for that.
Yeah, you're
Every
supposed to
security
know.
guard is responsible for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
you know,
supposed to know.
this pitch and tonality and intonation was 3 decibels lower amongst the F sharp as opposed to the F resolve, and then like you just know, like, oh my god, man, it's fucking
And that would be something that people would say to us, is like, how did you not know? Well, it's dark deliberately. There's flashing lights deliberately. There's smoke deliberately. There's fucking really loud music deliberately. You're all drunk deliberately. You're all fucking high deliberately. You're all acting like arseholes deliberately. Sorry that I didn't detect that one of you was screaming and shouting in distress instead of screaming and shouting in joy. You should come and tell me. Like, talk to security.
Yeah.
What is wrong with people? Just tell the policeman, tell the security guard, you see a guy in uniform with a badge on, tell them what is happening, give them the data. They might be an asshole, I don't know, but at least give them the chance to help. Nobody does it. But afterwards, where's the police? Why don't the police do their job? Why don't security do their job? What do you want from me? You're all fucked up in front of me deliberately of your own volition. How am I supposed to know who's doing fucking what? I'm only human.
So let's play it out and do it exactly. Let's be maliciously compliant to what people think how it should have gone down. Okay? So you have a group of 70,000, 20 more thousand people than the venue can even hold. 20,000 of those kids that are really able-bodied and very physically able bum rush the fucking stage. Like with no tickets, nothing. They just crush the entrances, flood in. I'm assuming they do drugs. So you have about 70 something thousand young, healthy, able-bodied kids that are inebriated, definitely drunk, and a lot of other substances involved. They're smashed together in this place with nowhere to go, playing really, really aggressive music and raging out to that. Now let's go ahead and do what people think that should have happened. Travis Scott, if he would have announced on the microphone, everybody stop, I'm not playing music anymore. Everyone's just gonna go, I'm quite hammered right now and under 5 different substances, but I guess he's right. We have to listen and save everybody around us. Because
come on, guys, let's go for McDonald's.
Because I'm really considerate of the people around me, especially when I first bum rushed the fucking gates in the front, because I really care about others. And Travis Scott, my God, told me that I shouldn't be suffocating people, so I won't do it. And then not only just him, but 70,000 other people have to follow the same suit just because Travis Scott on the microphone said so.
I really don't know what people want. I really, at this point, I don't know what people want. I don't know how people really expect reality to play out. Like you just say, you just made an interesting point there. It's not like it's a chess match or ballroom dancing. It is loud. It is aggressive. The music is violent. The music is aggressive. I love it. I'm not being moral or judgmental. I used to Pantera, Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson. That's what we moshed to. It was loud and aggressive. What do you want from people? What, like, do you want to be protected? If you're so concerned with your protection, stay home. Stay home. Do you want to be bullied and dominated by an authoritarian force? I'm thinking, like, what could you do with 20,000 extra people? I'm like, okay, I'm going to need a bunch of veterans. I'm going to need some big dudes, and I'm going to need a lot of CS gas. And we're going to have a policy, like if you try and storm a barricade, you're getting gassed from not the little CS gas, like the big thing that you hold like this. You're getting gassed from 10 meters away. It will upset, but at least we don't break your bones. Like if people are going to do crazy shit and you want us to stop it, that's the level of force we would have to go to. It would be, like you said, like totalitarian, Maoist style fucking force levels. What do you want? You want your freedom, but you want your safety too. Those two things don't go side by side particularly comfortably 100% of the time. You're going to have to grow up and realize that. You want to surge the gates, there'll be a cost to that. Sorry that it's affected your ego and you all feel guilty. They're probably pillorying Travis Scott through guilt. They're probably doing. The reason why it's so virulent is they feel guilty.
It has to be, because this is a really crazy reaction. Like this level of commitment to blame that one individual when it's I'm not just throwing a fucking loose idea out here. I'm just saying number 1 or top 3 on the list are back end organizations in charge of security management organization. That's true. But people are feeling a real visceral reaction towards him specifically. And I think you're right. It comes from a place of guilt, perhaps.
Well, I would say is like, yeah, Rage Against the Machine. Fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. But you know, I also won't stand on a 19-year-old girl's back and make her die when security tells me not to. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what people want, mate, and I don't know what the solution is. For me, my personal solution is I have to disengage now because this world is just having a negative impact on me. It's turning me into a shade. It's turning me into a less than a man, less than a human being, and I know it. The more time I spend here with people, the more time I'm face to face with people. I'm doing my dancing again. I'm back with my mates again. I'm seeing my family again. I'm like, shit, this is what it's like to be around humans. Yeah, this feels pretty fucking good compared to that other shit that we do online. All of this is just, it's like reaction seeking. It's illusory. It's provocation. It's all a spectacle. But sometimes the spectacle becomes real. And when the spectacle becomes real, there's tragic effects.
Sure. Yeah. My approach is I'm just attempting to not follow within the social media behavioral outrage cycle, but to perhaps approach it in a way that doesn't involve that. The gaming thing seems to be working pretty well because it's just like an activity that's fun that happens to be online, sort of a thing. So that's it for now. And then if I can find another alternative, I'll do that. But
Dude, Prague is the bachata central of Europe. You gotta go dance, man.
I'm not
Save
a
your life,
bachata
kids.
guy.
Dance.
I'll
Come
do
on.
hip hop maybe.
There
Bachata
will
is
be there'll be hip hop and there'll be a guy I danced with last week who was instructing. It was Kazomba. He's from Portugal, but his parents are from Angola, and he made us do. He just called it Afro. He said, "This is Afro style dancing. You would fucking love that. It's funny as fuck."
I've watched it and I really, really like watching it, but I'm not loose enough for it. Like I've tried it. It's too hard. It's too hard for me, man.
It was so silly and
Yeah,
so
it's
fun.
fun.
And
Yeah.
and the music is fucking great, and everybody is just laughing because you're putting yourself in such crazy positions, and like it was really, really good fun. Really good fun.
Before we move on completely, we didn't cover the Illuminati aspect of this whole thing.
I see you sent me a message about this today. Please, do you mind? Does everybody mind if I eat a small slice of pineapple? Please, Pierre, tell us about the Illuminati sacrifice of the children whilst I eat a small slice of pineapple.
Okay, we will do.
My rage has made me need pineapple. What have you got?
Do a cheers through the screen.
Oh yeah, okay.
For your pineapple and my Pringle, dude.
Cheers.
The disengaging, my friend.
Ding. This one makes my sperm taste better, apparently.
Oh my Jesus. So, this Illuminati thing. A lot of people, every second Travis Scott TikTok I come across is a conspiracy Travis Scott TikTok where they're talking about his deal with the devil, and this whole thing was a satanic sacrifice. It was an energy harvest thing.
Well, what can I say with my big pink face? Can I say anything?
Let's hear it.
I'm plugged in to different niches on the internet because it's good for business, and I like to know what's going on. And I'm plugged into a Black American conspiracy space, and sometimes it's all about Islam. Sometimes it's all about returning to natural solutions and nature, and sometimes it's quite right-wing, conservative, and Christian. But it's all in this conservative space. Conspiracy space. But it's a Black American conspiracy space. There is a perpetual obsession with deals with the devil from all. So you have that space, and then there's different branches in that space. There's an obsession with deals with the devil and musicians. Totally obsessed with the idea. Yeah. They never criticize white musicians. This is Black people criticizing Black Americans for making deals with the devil all the time. I'm not saying anything other than this is something that I've noticed over I've been plugged into this for a few years. There's a lot of it. There's plenty of it.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research on this conspiracy section of YouTube and whatever else, specifically with music, and being a musician myself and seeing what that industry had to offer. And there's a lot of sketchy shit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be like, I 100% don't believe that any of this isn't real. There's a lot of crazy things that are probably more than coincidence. There's a lot of similar gestures and weird, nonsensical hand symbols being thrown consistently throughout AAA celebrities and musicians and stuff like that. The stuff about the Travis Scott stuff, I was like, I was coming across so many, and I would watch them through just because I find it really entertaining, and I would let it skip. And I should have sent you at least 5 of these because there's tons of them.
Okay.
So there's a lot of symbolism in his album art and like his stage design. It's like based on one of the holy mountains. The flyer had eyes on his hands, and then there's like flames, like 8 flames shooting up here, and the the stage is set is like shaped of an eye, and then it would pop up, see you on the other side sometimes, and like lots of like really stuff that would point to death, I guess. So that's everybody's pointing at that as evidence that this whole thing was planned to sacrifice.
Okay. I would be like, okay, so there's class resentment. There's just you've made a lot of money, I don't have a lot of money, and I hate that. Okay, we're aware of that, so let's just shelve that for a second. You are a musician. Do you think people sign literal contracts with a literal devil in exchange for success? Just so we're ultra clear.
Do I believe that?
Yeah.
No.
Listen, some people will watch this who are not very high IQ and they won't understand the irony and they won't. So does Pierre XO literally believe that that actually happened?
No. But there is sketchy shit that happens. I don't know if it happens like that.
Okay, so no is the first answer. Then the second answer is something like that could be happening. So the model that there is a person going, here's my name, here's my soul, Mr. Devil. And the devil goes, ha ha ha, now you're more talented than you were before, but I'll claim your soul on death. You don't think it's like that? What do you think happens?
I think it's in a way where a person is so absolutely dedicated to fame and money that they're willing to sign away all of their own personal will to gain those things and be doing deals with bad people, like whoever.
So it could be pure metaphor.
Yeah.
Like anybody with half a brain can create the case for that. You're dedicating your life to materialism. The devil is the lord of the material world.
Yeah.
You then rap about drugs and ass and Gucci flip flops. So it's all materialism. So it's kind of demonic. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do you think that some people believe that they're in a contract with the devil and they're deluded, they're high on drugs, or they have a different belief system and they believe they've signed their soul over to the devil?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few.
Want to name any names?
I don't know anybody specifically, but I feel like there would be.
Do you think some of these people are acting like they think they're in a deal with dark forces?
Hmm. That's fascinating. Probably. Maybe.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a
I
good
do.
point. That's a good point.
I
Yeah.
think Jay-Z and Beyonce. I was convinced by Black Conspiracy Talk that Jay-Z and Beyonce have done and said enough that they think they're in a contract
Yeah.
with dark forces. Rihanna, I also think thinks that she's in a contract with dark forces, which means psychologically, to all intents and purposes, they are, because they act like they are. They speak as though they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of sketchy shit that I was saying earlier that is still very questionable. Like you even have that rapper Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah.
You know what his name is based off of?
No.
Listen to how I say it. Lil
Oh,
Uzi Vert.
Lucifer. Shit. I never got that.
Yeah. So he's like super obsessed with like Satan and Marilyn Manson and like shit like that. So I would say there is a branch of like Satanism that is definitely real amongst perhaps the music industry and anything that's like higher up. But in terms of like this concert being in like energy harvesting sacrifice, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. What do you think?
How would you so once this is like it's the tricky thing with conspiracy theories. I think usually it gets reduced through Gadsard's epistemological dichotomania too. It was either a conspiracy or it was spontaneous. And actually, I think that's a mistake. I think there's sliding scales of intentionality. So if we were to say this guy believes that he's in line with dark forces and he's been told to make some sort of a sacrifice, how would you organize that? And does this look organized to kill people?
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing. The way that this thing played out just screams as just like a spontaneous tragedy that happened. I don't
Yeah.
think it was like I will tweet out a few tweets for everybody to break in, and they will bum rush this stage, and then they will have specifically 8 people die of suffocating.
Okay, here's another question. And it's still a woo question. We've discussed this here before. What if you play with dark archetypes and they take over the intentionality? So you put I'll see you on the other side. You have an Illuminati eye. You're doing it ironically. Maybe you even talk about sacrifice or blood for blood or whatever in your lyrics, and you start evoking archetypal forces. Do you think that's possible?
I mean, in a sense, but I don't think it would like cause this specific type of tragedy to happen due to that reasoning.
Because if it did, every Iron Maiden concert where they sang 666, the
Right.
number of the beast, would have
Right.
caused death.
Right.
And it doesn't.
Exactly. You know, and the thing is like I think you and I are a bit I don't know, accustomed to this type of thing because it's like with metal and rock and stuff, this shit's nothing new, man. It's just they've always
They're all kind
flaunted.
of death cults. They're all
Yeah,
kind
they
of
all
death cults.
flaunt the satanic, bat eating, fucking Iron Maiden, zombie, fucking whatever the hell, all the time. Mosh pits happen all the time. People pass out at things all happen all the time. This is different in its own way, and it doesn't mean to be doesn't mean it should be just played off. But I don't know, like this whole satanic thing, it doesn't really bother me that much because it's like all rock and roll has been like that for a while.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't, it doesn't bother me because I don't think Satan exists. I think evil exists, but, and I wouldn't write a contract where I said Satan can have my soul, even though I don't believe Satan exists and that it works like that. I still wouldn't physically do that. So maybe I do sort of believe on some level, but yeah, it doesn't bother me because I don't think it's real. But evil exists. What we've had described here sounds like a spontaneous occurrence. People
Yeah.
have been restricted. They've done in hugely large numbers. It's amazing that 20,000 people did this, but in hugely large numbers, they did a very stupid thing. And all I can say is they're very lucky that only 8 people died. A 20,000 person surge, I would have, maybe I'm pessimistic, but I would have said you can expect at least 100 dead from that.
Think about this though, like, so can we agree that there's a huge diffusion of responsibility here?
Can we agree that no fucker anywhere from your politician to your mailman wants to take responsibility for fucking anything anymore?
Yes. So the big thing is uh, only portraying Travis Scott as the sole responsible person for this, and then blaming supernatural forces for the rest.
Ah, yeah. It's an
Like we're
alloplastic defense in psychology. You call it an alloplastic defense.
what is that?
You've just externalized it. A thing that you did, you've made. It'd be like fetishizing. It'd be like, no, it was there because it was a Tuesday. It was because I had a cheeseburger. It's anything but not me. Anything.
Yeah.
You reverse it and put it outwards.
Coincidentally, having a generation that's purely Gen Z social media digital native, seeing how their behavior has been as a track record for the last 5 years and how they deal with problems. You see the results of how they're responding to this situation. And this is just like a hyperinflated, steroided out version of the same shit.
Yeah, you could say that this event is a symptom of a much broader disease that's been going on for a long time.
I mean, I have never seen so many people en masse subscribe to a demonic energy sacrificing ritual theory.
But okay, so here's another thing that I'm somewhat tuned into, but a little less. Not your generation, the generation younger than you, they are quite ready to be very woo.
Yeah. I mean, the astrology talk is bigger than ever.
Astrology talk is big. I keep seeing fuckers saying, post this sound on
Yeah,
TikTok and good things will happen to you. I'm like, are you dumb? You you literally think your social media app and your device is God now. You're now sending out prayers. But
That's
if you save
literally,
this sound in your drafts, good thing will come to you. I'm like, fucking hell. We don't
yeah,
evolve, but we change.
yeah, they literally are praying to the smartphone god at this point. That's an offering, that's a prayer, that's a mantra. But
And then they
dude,
tell you what happened that was good. They'll be like, my mom finally gave me the credit card I was asking her for. My dad
yeah,
finally bought. And I'm like, you're not blessed by God. You're just privileged, you little twat. You're just
yeah,
from a rich family, you cunt.
yeah. Oh my God, I got more. Oh my God, I put this sound out and I got more. I'm posting the sound so I can get more.
My ex-boyfriend finally called me back after 3 months. I'm like, that's the level. That's you blessed, is it? All right, that's you blessed, is it? You fucking
More.
idiot.
More. Dude, it's crazy though. Like I see it more and more. Like this fucking supernatural leaning is getting out of hand. Like I have never seen so many people like and it was so demonic. It was so demonic. It was just there was Satan in the room. It was like hell.
I saw a kid describe it as hell. He said he
Yeah.
was there and he did a TikTok. He said it was like a concert in hell. And I was like, wow, this is very Baptist of you.
Yeah, but
This
a
is
lot
so
of
that generation is actually regressing now. They're
yeah, it's
regressing
crazy.
to
Like
another time.
and I was thinking there's something to pull from this. It's that same theory of like the less religion you strip a society, the more religious everyone behaves. Like everyone's describing why this ended up so terribly is because Travis Scott is a Satan worshiper here to harvest all of our souls, and this is why this went as bad as it did. Not because 20,000 of us were inebriated and bum rushed the stage.
Yeah, there you go. So, in a choice between personal responsibility and a completely spiritual, totally boundary breaking, collectivist, top down authority, no, I believe the Lord of Hell made this happen. I'm
That's
not religious. I've
crazy.
never been to church.
Yo,
Yeah, that's
that's
literal
fucking
insanity.
That's fucking crazy. Now that we're talking and breaking it down like this, like that's the literal
Mhm.
consensus that I've seen. I've only seen maybe 2 TikToks out of the literal 175 TikToks I've been scrolling through because of my fucking flu. And everybody and there's only 2 TikToks that describe the situation as, "Hey guys, I don't know if we can blame Travis for everything. The organization and the security, yeah, probably, but maybe." And then those get, like, buried. But the ones that are like, "Yep, it's because of Satan. Satan did this." Dude, people are literally saying Satan did this. Guys, what are we doing here?
Great. So our 20-year-olds are now religious nutters who've abandoned science, whilst yelling about it into a fucking supercomputer that they can hold in their hands. We are living in idiocracy. This is the beginning of idiocracy. In 3 generations, they'll have forgotten that it's water that goes on grass and not Gatorade.
And they're all on drugs. Where the nutters before, they were, like, repressed, so there was, like, a reason for it, you know? They're like, they haven't flipped enough, they haven't smoked enough weed, so then they get crazy. But no, it's like young 20-year-olds that smoke too much weed and flip every second day of the week, and they're acting like religious nutters.
It'd be like it's like, you know, I think back to like the 1920s. I'm sure many people would have said this, like some American gangster in the time of Prohibition. He gets on the gallows and he's about, "Do you got any last words before they hang him?" And he's like, "You know, it's that damned whiskey. It got into me, and then the devil's got into me. Yes, sir. And then I accepted Jesus, and you all should accept Jesus. It's that damn whiskey." And they fucking hang him. It's that damn whiskey, is it? Or is it the fact that you're a low impulse having greedy little arsehole, mate?
Yeah. Yeah. And then a part of me is like, hey, wasn't a lot of this generation the ones that like would yell at people for partying and being in crowded spaces? But
That's what I
it's like
understood. This is the woke.
it's like,
This is the wokest
hey,
generation. They do
do
bad
not
shit and blame
do
Satan.
not do not party, stay under lockdown, do not be in big crowds, you're slowing all of us down. But I'm gonna go see one of my favorite angry hip-hop artists and then go crazy and rush the stage illegally while I'm on drugs. And then if my favorite artist does something bad, he's Satan. I'll say that he's Satan, and then that way is not my fault.
I love it when you have a long enough timeline to see somebody's ideology simply unravel in front of your eyes while you sit back and do nothing and you just watch. You're exactly right. These are the ones who are pushing for lockdown. These are the ones for staying home. These are the ones who are pushing for masks and that whole woke fucking bullshit agenda. And this is how they act. This is how they really act. This is who they really are. The fact that they surged is terrible. The fact that that even happened is terrible. The justification afterwards, as you've described it to me here tonight, is disgraceful. That's a fucking disgrace. Their parents should be ashamed of themselves. They've raised little narcissistic twats.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's just I wish I could drive a taxi too, man.
Hey, Uber, just Uber around Prague. I can't wait. I have to do these seminars in Serbia, and then I'm getting my license. I already have my doorman's license, and I'm going to spend December, January, February working the door, doing taxis during the day. Going to do my dancing. Going to go to the gym, see some human beings face to face. I'm gonna live like a fucking normal guy over here with my fucking fruity ass pineapple.
I need to find a real life thing too, man. It's getting too crazy on these streets. These digital streets, bruh.
Work a bar.
I don't know. I'll think about it.
Work is good. It keeps us sane. La la li la loo.
Yeah, to kind of like what is it called? Steel man this situation. It's like how many like people are like, well, maybe we should have done this before that they I'm like, how many concerts have we been able to have and nothing ever happens? You know? It's like there's a really specific situation here that led to 20,000 kids doing that, and we can't blame the kids for doing that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it will be a collective action to do everything possible to not put the blame where it lies, which is the people who did the thing that if they hadn't done it, it wouldn't have caused this. That's law. Like you do a shitty thing that's reckless and you cause a death. Every state in America is the same as the United Kingdom. It's manslaughter, or I think in America you don't call it manslaughter. I think you call it third degree murder. You call it third degree murder. You go to prison for that.
Dude, you know what's crazy, man? When there's like events happening in the Czech Republic or Prague, there's like no security, or there is, but actually, most of the places that I've seen out here barely have any security. There's barely any metal detectors. There's none of that, and people are like totally chill, and rarely anything happens at all.
That's true. Because it's not London where everybody's shanking each other to death. And it's not, some of the states in America where everybody's shooting each other to death. It's just not necessary in the Czech Republic because it's not necessary. And no club is going to pay for something that's not necessary because they're trying to maximize profit. They'll only do it if it's absolutely necessary.
It's the culture, man. It's the culture.
Yes, I'm afraid it is, rather. What a dreadful culture. What a dreadful time to be alive, but simultaneously a wonderful time to live. Pierre, I've never felt more optimistic than I do right now.
We'll share some because I was quite depressed. Then I got actually physically ill, and then I became so physically ill I couldn't even focus on being depressed. So while I get better still, because I think I'm way more sick than I thought that I was at this moment. If you can give some parting advice.
Just unplug. Just unplug from all this. It's crap. It's crap. You know that there's like that trope that indigenous Americans wouldn't let their pictures be taken because they believed it would take a piece of their soul away. They were right. This is all taking a piece of our soul away bit by bit. It grows back, but it takes time. The online space is poison. All of this is shit. The real world is out there. The real world is there. People are out there. People are not assholes in real life. They're just trying to get by. People online, demons. That's why everything is so split. But you stand in a room with the person and you look at them and you see them and you can smell them, and there's parts of you that can detect who they are and what they're thinking at levels that are unconscious. You won't hate them like we can hate people online. It's a dreadful, dreadful, dreadful thing. I'm not speaking collectively. I'm not saying everybody do what I'm doing. I'm just saying what I'm doing as an individual. I'm stepping back because this for sure is weakening me now. It's been weakening me for years and I've been blind to it, but I can definitely see it now. That crisis I went through and then the therapy I did afterwards, it made a big difference. It's really, really helped me a lot. It's helped me a hell of a lot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's too damn cold to do anything outside out here, man.
But you gotta get a job. Just get a job and just make yourself go to work. Just do shitty shifts for shitty money and then whinge about it when you're there and
Wait,
see people and
you
connect with
forgot one
people.
thing. They're gonna
Well,
ask for my papers, and police gonna be showing up at the busy. You know,
I'm
that's gonna
saying
be a problem,
nothing.
bruh.
I'm
Just
saying
saying.
nothing at all. So, in order to be employed, you need to double pokey pokes
You need that for anything these days. You need to actually pretty much have that, or at least a test to eat at a fucking place. You know what I mean?
in Slovakia now. Apparently, it's double poke even to go to a restaurant. The test won't cut it. Test won't do it.
Amazing. Fuck,
Yeah,
like this
Slovakia.
shit makes me not even want to fucking go out anymore. It's like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah, outside is out, out, out. Everything is out. The real world, nature, people. I'm going dancing again in an hour and a half. Dance is fucking the best thing on earth. Everybody should dance. Even if you can only dance at home, please dance. It will save you.
Yes, yes.
You should do a dance stream where people have to keep up with you and dance with you.
Well, that was actually one of the other jobs that I was like thinking of perhaps doing. Might work a little better than bartending because I can't remember a damn thing. So dancing is probably a little more accessible.
You used to teach dancing professionally, right?
Yeah, I was really bad at choreography, but I guess I just have to learn it or something. I don't know.
Why don't you just practice it on your Pierre Extra live streams and just be like, okay, we're all going to dance together now for our mental health and spiritual fulfillment. Follow along with Pappy P. There's a little
That'll be
dance
good.
session.
And I'll
It would
wear
be
a
fucking
crop
great.
top.
You get people standing up. They can still be glued to their fucking devices, but they'll stand up, they'll move around,
Yeah.
and they'll be
Or
happy.
or they all pretend to be following along when they're just literally staring at me in a sweaty crop top.
They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm dancing right now." Oh, oh. My fingers are dancing.
Bruh. You know what triggered my depression, bruh?
But
Seeing the income of top 100 Twitch streamers and then going to their streams and seeing what they do.
just
I was
lounging
like,
around with their titties hanging out.
I just got sent down the hierarchy, and I was like, this sucks down here, man. I was just like, I literally talk for like fucking 4 to 6 hours straight with no breaks. and people get bored after 1 minute of me being silent. And I'm like, one looking at these other streams, and they're literally ignoring the stream for like 15 minutes at a time. They go off and get like a fucking snack, and they say, oh, "Hey, thanks. Oh, thanks." And there's like 1,300 people watching, donating twice my amount, and I'm like, this is stupid. What the fuck am I doing here?
There's something you're not telling me here. What's the difference between them and you?
Just guess, bro.
Udders, titties, milkers, flop hangers,
Bro,
mans.
you can see a bit
Show
of my
me.
cleavage too.
Show
Yeah.
me your tits. Do it.
No, I don't have any. You have more bigger than I do.
So, is what you're telling me is there's just thousands of men. What do they do on Twitch? They're playing games, right?
Yeah.
So there are thousands of men waiting for their favorite Twitch streamer to come back in a crop top and continue playing Call of Duty.
Yes, but then there was, to be fair, on the top 10, top 100 list, there was a lot of guy streamers too. They were like,
How do they do it?
They just fucking play like, I don't know, COD or something. Like, it's crazy, man. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And then I just got sick. I was so sick of that. I just got sick, like literally sick after seeing those things. I was like, fuck, what am I doing?
You're like, I'm sick of this shit. No, I'm literally sick. What are the guys doing that's different? Why is so many people? Are they funny? Are they comedians?
No, dude, they're just like there, and they're just like I don't know. I think they're like somewhat decent at the games. Maybe I don't fucking know. I don't know what the damn secret is. That's what I'm doing.
You do.
That's what I'm doing.
I'd really like a millionaire friend in Prague. I would just enjoy that very much.
Bruh, dude, you look at the top 100, like literally on the top 10, they make $8 million. Like,
well, what per year?
That's 8 million, bro.
What the fuck are you doing sat here talking to me? Get to fucking work.
Dude, I have been though, and it's not panning out the way that I see these things panning out for others, and that's why I'm like, fuck this. I'll get the flu instead.
That's really strange. I don't know why people would watch another dude playing a game, number one. And number two, I don't know why people would watch another dude playing a game and not you. That's number two. I don't need you to make 8 million. I'd be happy with you on like $1 million too.
Right.
So when everything opens up, I'd be like, I'm going to Prague, bitches.
Like number 98 made up 800,000, and I'm like, bro, like you can cut that by 1%, and I would be cool with that. It's like, my God, what am I doing here? Fucking hell!
You got to crack the code. Come on, P. I believe in you. Get in there, sir.
I don't know what the code is, man.
8 fucking million to play video games? Jesus Christ almighty.
Or I can do the mic licking thing. Hey, speaking of which, there's one important detail of the ASMR mic licking that I didn't tell you. On the mic, at the end, there's an attachment that you can buy that's the shape of an ear.
What do? Do you speak right into the... Do they like to watch the voice by the ear?
Yeah, they put the mouth next to the ear, and then they lick it sometimes.
Yeah. I would do that. I'd be like, go get a job, you dumb bitch ass.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to freeze frame that and jerk off over it, because people jerk off over everything on the internet.
Exactly. And I would probably do the same, but knowing my luck...
You're going to jerk off over me doing that? Really?
I already have, Richard. You already know that.
I didn't know you felt that way, man.
No, you knew. You knew since the beginning. I don't know. So yeah, I'm like, man, this internet shit, what am I doing with it? This is shitty.
What is anybody doing with it? It's a terrible, terrible thing. All the real world is outside. People should go dance, go to the gym, connect with their friends, get outside in nature, smell a dog.
That's changing real quick though, man. It ain't the same outside these days.
The birds don't know there's a lockdown. They haven't got a fucking clue. The moon has no idea.
I can't be talking to little birds out here, bro.
I'm insane in a way that actually suits the way the world has gone. You're insane in a way that doesn't suit the way the world is going.
What I've been doing is watching so many zombie apocalypse, Walking Dead type of stuff, and for some reason that's like, I don't know what feeling it gives me, but it's nice. I don't know if it's even nice is the right word, but it seems to work.
Is it nice when you watch the humans die screaming in agony and you're like, take that, you fucking human scum?
It's a confirmation of collective trauma, you know. It's like, yeah, we're all suffering pretty hard together, but we're still trying to make it through somehow.
I'd like everybody to take a moment to direct hard spiritual chi direct into Pierre's pee-pee right now, because this boy is depressed as fuck. Pierre pee-pee, Pierre pee-pee, Pierre pee-pee.
So what is the thing that you've been doing? Like you're getting haircuts or what? Like you're just working out more? Got workout homies? What's going on?
The therapy helped. The crisis and the therapy helped a lot. Like I was living with some pretty dark goggles on, and I don't know. I just think probably the solutions to our problems are right in front of our eyes. They're not. The problems are complicated, so we tend to think the solutions are complex, commensurate with the problem, but it's not true. The solution to the problems is very, very simple, and we don't really have to do anything, and that's hard for a human to deal with. Like, there's a really big, complicated problem. We must do a big, complicated thing, and it's like, no, you don't actually really need to do anything, but you do need to shift your coordinates. And when the coordinates are shifted, it's pretty good. My legs work still breathe. There's a sea, there's the wind. I'm grateful for these things. Gratitude helps, like practicing being grateful for stuff and enjoying what there is. And there is a lot to enjoy. There is a lot to enjoy. People, though, you need to be around people. That's why I said get a shitty job. Just get a shitty job and be forced to be around people you don't want to be around.
Bruh. I went outside for an hour and it hurt. Like it's
you can't become a fucking recluse. That's not gonna help with your depression.
Dude, it's so fucking cold outside. They're gonna be start checking papers and shit. You know what I mean, bro?
Prague, I have to say, Prague last winter was effing brutal. I mean, that's like, I really struggled in Prague when I came back from America in January and February. So the lockdown, it's quite harsh at the moment, is it?
It's not a lockdown yet, but the cases are up. It went from like 7,000 to 14,000 in the last few weeks. So I'm assuming shit gonna get smammered. So if I did get a job, not only would I have to have the papers, they might just shut the shit down the moment I get there.
That's terrible. Yeah, that's really, really bad. You got to try though. You got to try. I think one of the big things is trying. Like, I trained today. I trained really, really hard today. I would much rather sit in tonight and just do nothing, like read a book, but I'm still going to make myself go to this fucking class, because every time I force myself to go out and do something and see people, I'm always happier for it afterwards. If I stay in, I'm going to watch Netflix and scroll TikTok. That's not going to make me feel good. That's going to suck the soul out of me and turn me into a shade.
Yeah. Well, the moment I actually feel okay enough, I'll see what the options are.
Out is good.
And cold, Richie. It hurts.
Wrap up warm. Go outside and flirt with some girls. Be Pierre XO.
Hey, that Pierre XO is long dead. Hey.
What do you say to girls when you flirt with them? Hey.
I don't anymore.
Hey.
I say I'm a change. I say I'm a changed man. Go away.
Hey, I'm Pierre XO and I'm depressed.
I'm not the same anymore. Bye bye.
You could try to join me on Instagram. I'll ignore you because I hate Instagram.
No, they're gonna be like, "Hey, you're the guy that boxes, huh? Ill," and then they leave. I liked you when you had long hair.
When you were doing the political commentary and you had long hair, that was nice. You've not been boxing recently. There's no boxing going on.
No, and then I got sick, but I have to do it again when I feel better. But it's yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is, baby. It is what it is. Well, sir, I have to go. I have to go dance. I'm going to try and I'll see if I can get a video of dancing tonight and put it on the Instagram.
Post it on your TikTok, bruh. Let everybody see your moves.
Supposed to put it on TikTok when I got 1 million on that video. That's what I promised. All right, I'll put it on TikTok. That means I will have actually danced on TikTok.
You gotta do it. It's the new
A
shit.
14-year-old cousin who wants to duet with me on TikTok. She's like, I will show you the moves and you can do them with me and it will be to this song. And we go, I'm like, yeah, okay. Okay.
It'll work well for you, I promise.
All right. All right. I'll do it. I'll try it. I'll give it a fucking go.
Well, enjoy swinging your hips, my friend. I'm sure it'll treat you very well.
I will. Shall I sign us off with my big, sloppy, slimy tentacle suckers?
Oh, show. I was thinking of maybe streaming after this, but I realized I still feel like shit. I'm still kind of sick, so I'm gonna go rest some more.
Is this the kind of illness where you do something like this and you need to sort of sleep and rest afterwards a little bit?
I thought I was feeling like okay, but like now that I'm here, I'm like, still need to chill. Like the big fever parts are over. Now it's like the remnant, like cold symptoms. That makes sense. How long does this shit last?
How many weeks have you been in it?
It's been a week and a few days.
You'll be a little bit patient. If it is flu, are you hammering your zinc, your vitamin C, and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I say to you, it will be mainly lifted by Friday. Oh no, wait, is that realistic? No, it's 2 days. By Friday evening, it will be mainly lifted.
Motherfucker. Okay.
I'm going to scare the demons out of you.
Do it.
You will get better.
Thank you, Richie.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for your time and your attention, and we look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Cheerio.